Oh, thanks for contacting us, James, but we've already got another supplier. In that situation there, what do you do? Most salespeople will probably come up with some sort of BS type of words just to try and keep the prospect going. But I'm going to share with you in this video a simple technique that you can use that if you use it in the right way, will give your prospect and potential buyer some food for thought and will maybe open up the door to maybe an opportunity to try and work with them. My name's James White. I'm a small business sales expert, man that loves sharing videos that help you grow and achieve better sales results. Let's have a look into the video as to what to say when a potential prospect or buyer says to you that they've already got an existing supplier. So when we're outbound prospecting, the reality is we're going to knock on the door of people that have already got existing suppliers in place. Especially if you're in a competitive market, it's just the nature of the way things are. And the reality is when someone talks to an existing supplier, one of the things I hear a lot of salespeople do is they try and basically outwit the buyer, or they try and indicate why the current supplier is not the right supplier, or maybe even that the buyer's making a mistake by choosing that supplier. And the reality is that's never going to end well. Telling a buyer that they've made the wrong decision is not a good way in order to build a rapport and a relationship with them. So what would I do if someone said to me, oh, we've already got an existing supplier in place? The first thing I would do is this. I knew you'd have an existing supplier. That's exactly why I called, because I wanted to make sure that I understood more about that supplier and what you guys do so I can potentially give you an option of an alternative solution maybe in the future. By being able to bring out to the fact that you knew that they had that existing supplier in place, tells them that you know that that's going to be the situation. You know that their reality is that they've got someone that they work with. And what it's going to do is hopefully put that buyer at ease. It's going to make them think, well, actually, why did you ring me then? The next stage to this conversation is the critical bit. I knew you'd have a supplier in place. As a company like you, with the outstanding supply and service that you have, is going to have a provider in place for X, Y, and Z solution. Look, I could maybe share some ideas on why I think we're different, but more importantly, what is it about your existing supplier you love the most? Tell me a bit more about them. I'd love to know what they do so I can learn from them. Now, when you say something like that, the reality is the buyer may say to you, well, I don't know why you want to share that information with you. Who are you? Don't know you. But the reality is in many cases, because you've basically not questioned their decision, it's going to make the buyer think, well, we currently work with such and such provider and we really love the work they do. They do a fantastic job and they're great in doing this, this and this. Why is that useful for you as a salesperson? A, it tells you who the competitor is. So it gives you the opportunity to then identify where you can maybe make some changes or fight up against them in the future. But B, more importantly, it then gives you the opportunity to also ask a follow-up question, such as this. It's great that you work with that buyer at the moment and they do such a great job for you. Sounds like they do a fantastic, great job, and that's great to hear. Maybe in time we could offer an alternative quote, but just so I understand, they do such a great job here. What are the areas that you feel they could improve on? Now, when you ask that question, what are the areas they could improve on? Hopefully, if you've got through to the buyer and at least understood a little bit more about them and they felt like that you're not trying to sell to them, you can then be in a position where they might say, well, they're great, but they also, they're always a bit more pricey than we expect, or they're a bit challenging on service. What that enables you to then do is look for a chink in the armour you can potentially use to wheedle your way in the future. If you ask these questions in the right way, in a nice, friendly, engaging tone, at the right time with a potential lead, then you may get the opportunity to find more around that existing supplier. You may find out a bit more around who they're using and what they're doing. They may shut you down, if which is the case, there's not much you can do about that. Unfortunately, it's the buyer's prerogative. But what I do encourage you not to do is to then just at that point say, well, the reason you should use my company is because we're better than so and so and so because of this. That's never going to work. It's going to put you and the buyer up against each other. Ask those two questions. What is it about the buyer that does a really good job for you, so that you can learn and understand how you can improve your service? And also it means that you're going to know what you're going to need to do if you want to win the business with them. What are the things you feel they could improve on? And we're hopefully looking for that chink in the armour that could mean if they do say that service isn't a great aspect of what they do, then it could be an area where you could then find out a bit more around that issue and whether that's an area for you to be able to go in and do some business with that potential buyer. In all cases with a supplier like this, I would always say to someone, look, would you be open to at least receiving another quotation or an opportunity to see how competitive your existing provider is in the market? Would you be open to that? Or would that be a daft idea for us to share with you at least an alternative solution so you can compare with your existing supplier? But most buyers are open to seeing that. But the key thing is to find out what they love about the buyer and what they maybe have some concerns about. Because if you know that information, you can then use that in your your sales approach to then hopefully present the right information that's going to maybe make the buyer think, this could be an interesting option for us. Use these techniques when you're trying to engage. When someone says, I've already got a supplier in place, indicate that to them you know that's the case and you want to find out a bit more, and hopefully they're going to have a few moments to share some insights with you that can help you, maybe not just with this potential buyer, because it may well be that you can't change that existing incumbent supplier, but it may well be for someone separate to that. You can find out the weaknesses that they feel or the strengths that you're up against to use in a future deal. My name's James White. I'm a small business expert, a man that loves helping sales professionals and business owners get great results. Use these phrases when someone's asked you, when someone's told you they've already got an existing supplier, and let me know how you get on. Thanks for watching the video. See you soon for another one.